In this episode, we will take a detailed look at receiving a pendulum serve with left side spin from below, learn the differences between receiving from the left and right, and understand the distinctions and features of active and passive returns of long pendulum serves. For amateurs, side spin serves cause a lot of difficulties, especially if the player is cheating and serving from the hand. The ball flies off either to the left or to the right. Your brain is boiling, you try to adjust, but nothing works because you lack the experience and understanding of what's coming at you. And even if you do, you can't execute the shot correctly. In reality, returning a serve is simple. Today, I will give you a universal tool and knowledge that will help you return this type of spin. First, we'll break down how to return this serve in the simplest way, and then look at other options and their tactical purposes. Support the channel by subscribing, commenting, and liking. By doing so, you inspire us to do more and better, just for you, my dear viewer. I am Ivan Tomachev, and this is a channel about table tennis. Here you will find a lot of useful information that will significantly improve your game. Before you continue watching, make sure to subscribe. Let's get started. In the previous episode, we studied the theory of spins, and everyone, to put it mildly, had their minds blown by a ton of confusing information. That was the intention. Now, with this knowledge under our belts, we'll be able to understand each other better. After all, my goal is not to give you ready-made solutions, but to provide you with tools that will always work. Today we're going to dive into one of the first combined spins. This is the bottom side spin. Let's agree on something once and for all. We are on the receiving side, and I'll be explaining as if we're standing here with our opponent in front of us. All directions and movements will be described from our point of view. Left bottom side spin. The features of this spin: the ball moves under the left hand because there is back spin. The ball travels along a lower trajectory and almost skims the surface. Under the left hand is just a conventional term, since the player can serve both to the right corner and to the left. The idea is that when the ball bounces off the table, it starts to move to our left. The mistake that amateurs often make, I'm not talking about everyone, just my own students, and I've coached about 1,000 of them. This is how they approach the return. Oh, the ball, I'll hit it. Oops, missed again. The funniest thing is, where is the player looking? At their own racket. I don't know what the player is thinking at that moment. Apparently, they're waiting for an answer from the racket. Vanya, move a bit to the left after the bounce. Remember, when receiving this kind of spin, you always need to shift slightly to the left. What kinds of backspin, sidespin serves can you get? Backspin, sidespin can vary greatly from one to another, and visually, it's often impossible to tell exactly what kind of backspin, sidespin it is at first glance. This ball spins simultaneously in two planes, backspin and sidespin. If your opponent hits more from the side than from underneath, the ball will have more sidespin resistance, so you need to angle your racket more to the side and slightly underneath. If the player hits more from underneath and only slightly to the side, then the serve will have more backspin. In that case, on the contrary, we angle the racket more under the ball and only slightly turn it towards the side of the ball. All of this is adjusted to the specific player's serve, because there are no two identical serves, even from the same server. These parameters can constantly change. The next point is that the amount of spin in the serve affects our return. Amateurs often ask me a question that can't be answered in a single word. How do you return long side spin serves with heavy spin? If we take a long serve, it can be heavily spun and slow, medium fast, or even very powerful. A slow serve doesn't travel very fast, but it has a lot of spin, making the ball seem to stick to the table. For this serve, you just need to place your racket under the side of the ball and gently push it forward. If you try to chop it, the ball will either go into the net or off the table. Medium. The opponent serves a long ball without any sudden jerks, and the ball travels along a side trajectory. Here, there is less spin, so the first method will be less effective. In this case, you need to let the ball rise and make a light motion, slicing along the side of the ball while gently pushing it forward. Fast. The ball has strong spin and forward speed, but it doesn't have the same pressure as a powerful serve. Here, we use the spin and speed of the incoming ball. Set the required angle and direct the ball in the desired direction. It will fly out on its own. If you give it extra force, the ball will go out. Powerful serve. A professionally executed serve involves the whole body in the motion and adds the use of the blade in the stroke. The player sort of spins and presses the ball into the racket. The unique feature of this ball is that it flies rapidly to the edge of the table and upon contact with the racket drops down like a stone. Here, the same return as for a simple fast serve doesn't work. Here, you need to let the ball bounce and apply counter pressure to it, and for safety, direct your movement slightly upward. When you receive long serves, pay attention to what is happening. If you make a mistake and the ball goes into the net, tilt the racket slightly toward yourself. If it still keeps dropping into the net, lift the racket a bit more at the moment of contact. If the ball pops up, adjust your contact to the side of the ball. If it keeps bouncing upward, start pushing the ball at the moment of contact. This will neutralize the side spin and the ball will go forward. With each player, you need to find your own angle for their serves, and for the next player, different angles. Setting the angles. The simplest way to receive a side spin underspin serve is the so-called wall reception. We position the racket on the same side from which the opponent struck. This serves as a reference point. To be precise, we play on the right side of the ball, blocking its ability to fly off to the side. We remember that if you place the racket directly under a left side spin, the ball will fly off to the right. This serve is easiest to receive on the forehand, since the racket is already in the necessary plane and you just need to figure out how much underspin and topspin there is in the serve to set your angle correctly. It's harder to receive on the backhand. You need to turn your wrist so that the racket can hit the right side of the ball. At the beginner stage, to reduce the chance of missing, aim your returns of side spin serves to the middle of the table. If your returns still go far off to the side, then play into your opponent's right corner. That way, you'll definitely get the ball on the table. We've now covered the passive return. It's the most reliable, but not always the most rational. When should you use it? First, when we don't know how to return actively. Second, whenever the incoming serve is particularly challenging or difficult for an aggressive return. Third, when there are no attacking actions following it. In other words, the opponent gives us a passive ball next and we can play actively on the second shot. Active return. A long left side underspin side spin serve can be returned with a topspin or with a drive. The drive is used only in one case, if the serve has more side spin, and thanks to this side spin, you can send the ball forward. Returning with a drive is very risky because even the slightest mistake in the racket angle or in judging the incoming spin leads to an error. The most optimal way to return long serves is with a topspin. Here the main task is to hit the right side of the ball with the racket. Accordingly, it is easiest to counter left side spin with a forehand topspin using a simple forward motion. On the backhand, you need to slightly turn your wrist and direct the ball more toward the right corner. This way, you'll minimize errors. What are the subtleties of returning with a topspin? Executing a topspin against a backspin side spin serve can differ from a regular topspin against pure backspin. If a strong backspin side spin serve comes at us and we simply play upwards, the ball will go out because the side spin reduces the downward pressure on the ball, making its behavior closer to side spin than to pure backspin. That's why a backspin side spin serve is played this way. The player bends their knees a bit, as with a backspin pushes off with the leg, but makes the stroke slightly upward with the rest of the motion going forward. What mistakes can occur? The ball falls into the net. In that case, simply make more of an upward motion brushing the ball. The ball goes out. With an open racket, direct the stroke more forward. If it still flies out, then close the racket. The ball goes past the opponent's left corner. Turn your wrist and direct the topspin to the center or right corner. This is how you perform forehand topspins, and this is how you perform backhand topspins. When the above-mentioned mistakes occur, simply adjust the direction of your stroke, the angle of your racket, and the acceleration on the ball, trying to find the necessary angle for handling it. As with anything, practice is key here. The more you practice receiving this serve, the faster you adapt to it and the better your returns become. Thank you for watching this video to the end. Give a like and write in the comments which topics you'd like to see covered. Subscribe to the Telegram channel and the YouTube channel. This was Ivan Tolmachev with you. See you next time.